Good day, good day, good day. How are you today? This is Monday, the 4th of August 2025, and this is week 31, the 31st week of the year. I hope you're doing well. Hope you had a good start of the week, or if you are in this part of the world, you are having a good start of the week. I hope it will be a profitable, wonderful and blessed week for you. For many of us, it's holiday season, it's August, it's the summer. But today is Overflow 3. What is Overflow, Flavio? Overflow, it's the idea of putting out what I am receiving. So when you fill up a cup or a container to the top and you keep filling it, you overflow. So this is an opportunity to share with the world what I have been reading, studying, considering, concepts. And when I share it, and when I share the idea, and I can also train communication, I train video making, editing, in many ways. Putting the word out for it's very early. We need coffee. Right, but today we're talking about patience. What is patience? What crosses when you hear the word patience? Patience is a virtue, right? What is a virtue? It's interesting. I like studying word and meaning, especially English is not my first word. So many times I need to go and dig a little bit. What is the meaning behind it? What are the concepts behind that word? You might have similar wording, or if there is a Latin, I might have very similar words to my own language. My mother tongue is Portuguese. So behavior is moral standard. So patience is a behavior that shows high moral standards, a patient person. The dictionary says patience is the capacity to accept or tolerate delay. A capacity to accept or tolerate delay, or a capacity to tolerate problems, suffering, not becoming annoyed or anxious. So going through difficulties, facing challenges without anxious or without become annoyed. So it is not simply the act of waiting, but it's the way we behave while we wait. So it's not just waiting, seated waiting for something to you, or waiting perhaps for others to change. No, but it's the way you wait. How do you wait how do you behave? What is your attitude, your state of mind while you're waiting for something? So true patience allows you to remain calm and wise through the ups and downs of life. It's enabling you to grow and build resilience. Now, it's interesting illustration for you. Now, in Portuguese, and if I can broke these two words. If I break these words in Portuguese, I can break these words in two. I can use pay or pá, paciência, pá, And the meaning of pá in Portuguese is a shovel. It's a tool that we use, to take sand from the ground, or to move sand or gravel. And ciência, which is science, is knowledge. It's the knowledge of how to use a shovel. If you think about that, hey, this is not it's just an illustration that made sense to me as a Portuguese speaker. Uh, so all the poetics apart, it's just to say patience is a combination to have the right tools and knowing how and when to use them. So it's not just sitting there waiting, but it's what are the tools that we use to wait. It means to understanding what is required to achieve and perhaps know how long it will take, keeping in mind that time is life. People say time is money, but they get irritated. Come on, I don't have much time. Go for it. Do it. Give me now. Time is money. In reality, time is life. Right? So we understand the concept of time that was very relevant, very powerful to me. I remember watching this movie this film 2 years ago. I think it's called In Time. If you remember the characters or the people, is that was a society or a world or in the future or so, and they have numbers of digits in their arms, and when they twist the arms, those numbers go up and down. And those numbers are the hours or the days they had of life. So if you were very rich, you had many days or many hours to live. Very poor, you had just a few hours, just a few days left. And that was also the currency. You would exchange for things, for drinks. There was no money. The money was the life, was the currency, the energy, time that you have. So very interesting. Time is life. When you're giving someone your time, you're actually giving someone your life. But patience, I think it's important to understand the cycles and the delays of things. Lack of knowledge often breeds impatience. And when you do not know the season you are in, when you do not know perhaps how long it will take to achieve or to complete, um, perhaps at work, in your career, in your relationships, dealing with your children, that may breed impatience because you do not know the season you are in. You not perhaps you can't see beyond the current circumstances. So, for example, if you think about investing in the stock market, right, that takes patience. It's not something that happens. You put the money in and suddenly you have a breakthrough. Almost like betting, right? It takes time because stocks and shares we know goes up and down, and what goes up also comes down. What comes down also goes up. An inexperienced investor will panic at first market drop, but everything that goes up comes down. As I said, if you know this that reads the heartbeat, I think electrocardiogram, it goes up and down all the time. It goes up and down. Suddenly, if it stays in one line, the heart has stopped beating. There's no more life, right? So what goes up goes down. The Earth's tides, the effects, the Earth tides, the oceans is affected by the seasons of the sun and the moon, the rotation of the Earth. So there are seasons in nature and times. So these natural rhythms reminds us that no pain lasts forever, and joy always comes in the morning, if you think about that. And the end is the beginning. So we are on a journey. I believe the world history, it's moving. We're constant days and the times. It never stops until the end, until God says that's the time and brings everything into completion. Um, Now, when you ask God for patience, when you ask God for wisdom, He gives us the opportunity to develop that, right? It perhaps is something dangerous to ask because you're asking for you're asking for opportunities to develop those virtues, and these opportunities, these through trials, through troubles, through situations. So God will allow you to be in situations that you will need to be patient. You need to develop wisdom and to think through problems. Yeah, so trials. God doesn't hand us finished product. He gives us seeds that will build the traits that we desire to do. So be careful what you ask for. But even though I think it's a noble and an honorable thing to ask God for, and I do ask God regardless, and ask Him to give me the wisdom and the insight to go through life's challenges, and that my heart will be learning patience as we go through. I told you the shovel, science of using the shovel, but if you think about a truck full of sand or truck full of gravel, and you need to unload that truck of gravel or sand, and perhaps there are three ways you can do that. If you have a good truck, with this dump mechanism, a dump truck, that you press a button and perhaps in 10 seconds all the gravel is down where you want it to be. But imagine your truck is not working and you can't do that. The only thing you have is a shovel. Instead of a 10 seconds, you may to do that just by yourself, you with your arms, with your hands and a shovel. It might take you 10 hours to do that, right? 10 hours. But imagine you don't even have the shovel. You only have your bare hands. How long it's going to take you? Perhaps 50, 60, 70 hours. I don't know. Get the sand, put it out of the truck. So the impatient person, shovels are needed to finish the job, and is overwhelmed by the task. But the patient person knows it may take 800 shovels, just to give an example. But they understand the process and they have the endurance to see it through. That doesn't stop him because he needs the sand, he needs the gravel on the ground. And you know what? The truck is not working. I have a shovel. I better start. And I better start as soon as I can. And start one at a time. Calculate how much it would take. Perhaps calculate how many shovels a minute he can do, and he calculates the time. He knows exactly how many days or how many hours it would take. So patience, it's not about passively waiting, but it's about having the clarity, using the right tools, and executing with discipline. I believe patience is also connected with discipline and diligence as well. Um, Again, the first day that you start, and every project has the final day, the day of completion. When it's not clear when is the last day, then you have projects usually has a beginning, it has a middle, that's the development phase, and you have the end, the completion phase. It's important to have that. in your projects or in your tasks. Uh, but when your growth feels slow, it's often exponential. If you think about personal growth, or I'm working towards growing this channel, people following people, YouTubers, and they also start slow, but as they grow themselves as a person, as their content starts you to other people, they improve their communications, perhaps they improve their camera, the lightings. I'm still in a way to to improve that. It use progressive vision, what I talked a couple of days back. We talked about vision. If you haven't watched it, take your time to do it. And I mentioned progressive visions. It's the picture of you're driving a car at night, dark, apart from where the lights, your headlights from your car are showing. So you drive, you can't see far away, but you can only see a few meters ahead of your car. So that's the progressive vision. You just move according to what you can see. It's like you are gaining terrain little by little. You're progressing little by little. I call it micro results. The small results that you get, the small victories that you have, and we can celebrate those things. And we should celebrate. That actually energizes us to have more patience. I haven't done that. If you start training for a marathon, I had the opportunity to run 2 marathons, one last year, one this year, training for the third one, hopefully November. But in the beginning, I couldn't even run 5 kilometers. So it takes, if you run 1K today and 2Ks tomorrow, 3Ks, and celebrate that 2Ks, celebrate the 3 kilometers you're able to run. That is a micro results. And the day I was able to run my first 10K, what a celebration it was. And then increase to 15, and then go. So it takes patience and takes discipline when you have a long-term project. A marathon as an example, but celebrate the micro victories, the small victories that you have. We're often patient when life is in order, right? But we are impatient during chaos, where we things is not in the right place. But the true growth happens when we learn to be patient in the middle of chaos, in the middle of the storm. So to pause, to assess the tools that I have available in order to be done in the midst of the chaos, in the midst of the turmoil, in the middle of chaos, because chaos comes. Storms comes in life, and we need to be able to face it. And if we are able to face it with patience, even better. For instance, our thoughts. Thought is energy, and 80% of our thoughts are involuntary. It's automatic reactions of the things that happens to us or things that we're dealing with on the day to day. We have this automatic response, perhaps feelings and so on. And then 20% of our thoughts are voluntary thoughts. It's intentional, it's mindful. It's when you are at work, when you're solving problems, when you're having a meaningful and conversation, you're listening and you're responding in what you have to say. So 20% of our thoughts are voluntary. So we must not be led by scattered thoughts, but by the vision God has placed in our hearts. If you have a vision, if you know where you're going, if you have a calling, if you have a clarity in terms of your purpose, uh, your thoughts should serve that purpose, should serve that vision. Your, your not sabotage it, should not play against it. So we need to learn to interrupt negative thoughts, stop negative thoughts. If you know you're having negative thoughts, you fish it. Hey, that you don't belong there. You don't belong to my mind, and replace them with the one that encourage in peace and purpose. I just came across a verse came to my mind in Philippians 8, 4. Let me get that for you. Philippians 8. And it says like this: finally, brothers and sisters, whatever is true, whatever is noble, whatever is right, whatever is pure, lovely, honorable, if anything is excellent or praiseworthy, think about such things. In other words, you can control your thoughts. You can actually, what is true. Is that true? What am I thinking right now? Is it true? Is that noble? Is it right? Is it pure? Is it lovely? Is it admirable? Is it excellent? Is there anything excellent about these thoughts? Is there anything praiseworthy about these thoughts? Wow. Let it sink in. Let's spend my mental energy to think about those thoughts. But if not, why wasting the time, right? Now, daily practice, things that you can do, if you declare that patience, and am I growing every day in my life in patience? When your patience is tested, this is what you can do. You can pause, take 3 deep breaths, perhaps naming the emotion or the feeling you're feeling at the moment is also helpful. It helps me. I've been trying actually doing different types of breathing, learning with people that are experts on that, on breathing and so on. It does calms you down. Even your heart rate comes to it slows down. You feel some relaxations in the middle of stress. If you have a stressful, anxious about things, breathing exercise is really powerful. I have experienced that and encourage people. I can't give you all the science behind it, I'm not a. I tell you, breathing exercise helps. Another thing you can do is identify alternatives to respond to situation, and you can choose the best and least harmful option. Okay, so instead of becoming patient, look at alternatives. What is out there? How can I solve that problem? So take a more positive response and to the situation you are facing. The other one is relax. Take time to relax. If you're living in a stressful season, take your time, go for a prayer walk. If you live close to a woods, or go for a run. Going for a run, I usually go in the morning, go after this video. 30 minutes run, it really helps you to clear your mind, to prepare you for the day ahead. Last thing I'll leave with you is practice patient communication. And I struggle with that, because if I'm talking to someone that perhaps is slow and is thinking too much, sometimes I'm almost putting the words in the mouth of the person. But listen, let the person to their thoughts, to express themselves, and listen fully before you respond. Otherwise, you come across as a fool, right? Don't rush. Take your time listening to people and value people you communicate. Value, especially when you communicate. I've got three. Let them communicate. Let them explain themselves. Sometimes it takes longer for them to explain concepts and ideas because they are searching for words to express their little hearts to you. Um, Finally, I'll leave a few verses from scriptures. Proverbs 19:11 says, "A person wisdom yields patience. It is to one's glory offense." A person's wisdom yields as a result of wisdom, you will yield patience. And we know patience also a fruit of the spirit, right? And by fruit of the spirit is a manifestation of the spirit living with you as a result of the Holy Spirit transforming you, changing you, sharpening you. You are able to display patience, to allow God to continue to work inside of you. Romans 12 says, "Rejoice in hope, be patient in tribulation, be patient in the middle, and persevere in prayer." So it's not just waiting, but it's an active waiting, because it says persevere in prayer. Prayer is action, prayer is work. You bring Him before God your thoughts, your feelings, your frustrations, your anxieties. You leave it before Him, then you endure the patience, and you start counting the costs. You start looking what needs to be done, and you start planning how many shovels do I need to empty that truck. You're considering, so active waiting, but not in anxiety, but in prayer, perhaps with thanksgiving, thanking God for what already is by faith. And finally, James 5:7 says, "Be patient then, brothers and sisters, until the Lord's coming. See how the farmer waits for the land to yield its valuable crop." How the farmer waits for the land to yield its valuable crop. It's a crop that will, for the farmer and his family, will provide perhaps for the region. And if he would exchange for money to buy more seed, there's a number of things that the farmer will be able to buy when the crops are ready, feeding his animals. So patiently waiting for the autumn and the spring rains. Very powerful verse. So that was James 5:7. Be patient in the season that you are in. And patience is not passive, it's an active investment of energy, clarity, and wisdom. It equips you to face life's challenges with grace, to face life's challenges with endurance, with wisdom to endure the process and finish stronger. Perhaps finishing stronger than you started. Right, that's what patience will do in you. So no matter where you are in your journey, remember everything has an end. Everything has an end. The end is better than the beginning, right? So it is 1:06 and I will close down now. Thank you for watching. May God bless you today. Take your time to meditate and to consider about patience. Let me say a word of prayer before we go. Father, we thank you for today. Teach us patience, Lord, and help us to face the challenges, the troubles, even difficult people, difficult circumstances, difficult conversations. Help us to face it with patience, and add to the patience, add love as well, Lord, and understanding. Jesus, I pray. Amen. Hey, God bless you. I'll see you tomorrow. We're going to be exploring a different topic. Bye for now.